Hi, I'm Rachel Olsson again, and this is my second Japan vlog covering week 2 of our trip. The day we left Tokyo, we went to Toyama. This was my first time on the Shinkansen, and I was really pleasantly surprised. The seats were pretty big, and there was a lot of legroom. It was a really nice change from the plane ride. That day, we went to the Itai Itai Museum and then to our hotel. The difference from the rooms at NYC to the hotel rooms was really jarring, but in a good way. The beds were actually really comfortable, and I slept so good that night. We had dinner at this fish market type place across the street, which I didn't know was actually a mall until we had already finished eating. And after we ate, Heather and I walked around the mall until it closed, and we got these little sweet potato sweet treats, and then we sat in the lobby of the hotel chatting until we got tired and went to bed. The next day involved lots of traveling on the Shinkansen once again. That's a common theme of the second half of this trip. We went from Toyama to Tsurugu, and then from Tsurugu to Osaka, where we had lunch. That may be the most overwhelming station I had been into up to that point. It was so many people there. After lunch, we headed to Hiroshima, which is where we visited the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum dedicated to the atomic bomb. For the sake of keeping this video lighthearted, I'm not going to talk much about it, but I will say it was a very impactful and insightful experience. After that, it was back to the hotel for some sleep. The next day had us going back to the Peace Memorial Museum to hear from a storyteller, and then we got guided tours of the memorial park from some mostly high school volunteers, although one of the girls in my group was actually the same age as me, which was pretty cool. They were all so sweet. They even made us these little origami shirts with a candy inside as little gifts. After we were done there, we headed towards Miyajima Island. I didn't do any research on it prior to going, and to be honest, I had forgotten exactly what we were doing at all. But I was really pleasantly surprised when I figured out what it was, and as we got closer to the ferry, I got really excited. The ferry ride was pretty short, but really, really memorable. We had great weather. The sun was out, and there was a nice breeze, so it wasn't too hot. The oceans and the mountains were visible, with the city of Hiroshima visible on one side and Miyajima Island on the other. Our first stop on the island was Itsukushima Shrine, which is where the big famous ocean torii gate is. We walked past this area where people had put up a bunch of charms wishing for luck in all areas of their life, which I really liked. I thought it was really cool to see a collection of wishes like that. We spent a good amount of time at the shrine, and everybody took a lot of pictures before splitting off into groups to explore the island for a bit. I made a couple of stops to buy some gifts for family and friends before going back to get ice cream with some of the girls. Alam and I got this matching ice cream that was really good and also so cute, and then we walked around the more residential areas of the island for a bit. We went to this small park where we saw a deer and her baby come up so close to us. There were a lot of deer on the island. That's a really fun thing. They came so close and they kept trying to steal food out of Noda Sensei's bag. So it was a nice change of pace from the busier areas of the island, and then after that, we reunited with some of the other girls to take pictures at the big torii gate in the water before taking the ferry home. That night, Laurel and I went out for Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki, which was pretty good, and then we met up with Payson and Grant at Round 1, which is a really big entertainment center. I played some games and even tried a batting cage, except I wasn't very good at it. This was another favorite day of mine. We started off the next day on the Shinkansen going from Hiroshima to Hakata, and then we checked out Kumamoto Castle. It was pretty cool to see, and I got to put a cool stamp in my journal on the way out. There was an area with a bunch of food stalls and shops by the castle, so we spent some time there, and I got this really tasty red bean bun that was in the shape of a bear. That night, we had a group dinner at this place where we could go get skewers and cook them at our tables, and it was really fun and really tasty. The next day had us going to the Minamoto Disease Museum, where we got to hear from a storyteller. She spoke very slow and clear Japanese, and I was actually able to understand a lot of what she said without needing it to be translated, which really made me happy. The top floor of the museum had an observation deck where we all looked around and took a lot of pictures. Once again, you could see both the ocean and the mountains in the distance, and it was really beautiful. Minamoto is quite rural, so there was naturally a lot less people there. In fact, there was almost nobody at the train station, which was a really nice break from all the crowds. On the train ride back, I flipped my Shinkansen seat around and played 20 questions with Ryan, Gabby, Sharad, and Alam. After relaxing for a bit, I went out to dinner with Laurel, Olivia, and Ibaraki and Noda Sensei. We took a picture with a stranger sitting next to us. It was pretty funny. We spent the entire next day traveling on the Shinkansen, and then before we knew it, it was the last day of the program. We went to Kadawaki Elementary School and then to Okawa Elementary School, both places that were affected by the great earthquake and tsunami in 2011. After, we had our final group dinner. I was sitting with An from Azabu University and then Yui and Sol from Tokyo University of Agriculture, and they're the ones who showed me around their campus, so it was really nice to see them all again. Our dinner was all you can drink, so of course I had a good time, and a lot of us went out afterwards for a few more drinks, and then it was time to go home and pack my bag. I was only mildly hungover for my Shinkansen to Kyoto the next day. And that was our whole program. This was a trip that I'm definitely going to think about fondly for a really long time.